Battle of the Challenges podcast with Vincent Cloud
and David Lauer.
Rivals 3, episode 11.
Civil War.
Yeah.
Now, what is Civil War? I mean, I get that there's infighting and stuff between Daario and Devon, but I'm not really sure it's a civil war.
Yeah, and they weren't that close or whatever.
Is it North versus South? Where's Devon from? Is he from the North?
Sure.
I don't know.
Well, I was thinking more Captain America, Iron Man sort of situation going on.
Okay. So there's no Mason-Dixon line here.
No. And Cheyenne's like, you better be for the North, piece of shit. Okay, so where we last left off
is we're in the jungle.
Yeah. Corey draws the skull, right?
Yep.
So him and Ashley are going in, and they're going in against Nate and Christina, who, going into this, were just like, yeah, they're fucking done for. Nate and Christina, you know.
Yeah, they did terrible in the trivia.
And what is this called? I don't know. You wrap
Spun Out.
Spun Out, yeah. Which is kind of interesting, where, you know, you have the opposite gender hold on to your rope. Like, Christina has to take this pulley or whatever.
Yeah, you just hold on to this handlebar, and then it's pulling you through the air as they're spinning and tightening the rope. And it's basically whoever can hold on the longest. Because the more it spins, the tighter and harder it's going to pull away from you.
Yep. So Christina is pulling Corey, and Ashley is pulling Nate.
Before they start off, like, Nate's saying, hey, we're going into this as an underdog. Christina's like, hey, we want to prove that we're not a layup. Like, Christina's like, hey, we're here to win this, we're going to do good. And Nate, he doesn't seem to have that kind of confidence. He's just kind of like, oh, yeah, we're going to, you know, we're kind of underdogs going in. Then they cut to Ashley, and she's like, the only reason we're here is because Daario's a bitch. And it was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that's what, you know, Daario's kind of the focus of attention right now, because he did put his own friend, his own alliance member, the Four Horsemen.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, this Four Horsemen, they just cannibalize each other, you know? Like, we already saw Corey take out Thomas.
Yeah.
So we can't really fault Daario as like, oh, you're a backstabber. Well, Corey was kind of a backstabber in a way, you know, so.
If you want to make it long term, you have to set up an alliance and let it play out. But and then they basically, you know, they start pushing on the turnstiles, and the girls are going through the air, and they're holding on. And it was like, this scene was just like the soccer game, where everyone in the audience, like all the other teams, they're just yelling and screaming instructions from the sideline. And I'm just thinking, like, what the fuck? All they have to do is push the turnstile and then hold on. There's no instructions you can give them. And they're all just yelling and screaming at them, and it's like, no, push harder, run, keep going.
Who's holding on first? Is it the guys?
It was the girls holding on first.
Oh,
it was Christina and Ashley.
Okay.
And the guys are just running in circles, and they're like, use your legs. And it's like, well, obviously, you know, that's how you run, with your legs.
Yeah.
But, like, as they're going, like, you can see Ashley just lets go. She couldn't hold on anymore. And she just goes flying back through the air. I literally thought she was going to die. Like, she went flying back with such force. I thought she was going to, like, fly into the stage and just, like, die.
Yeah, that was nuts.
And Christina's just like, do I have to let go? I don't want to let go. And then you just hear a beep of her swearing, and then she lets go, and then flies back too. Like, it was terrifying.
Yeah, she went really fucking high because she's lighter, you know. And so a shock, Christina wins that round.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, Ashley, whoa. I was completely taken aback. Now, do you think it's because heavier people in general? Because, like, Corey and Ashley totally outweigh Nate and Christina. Do you think it's just the heavier you are? Is that the more body weight you have to pull? But it doesn't make any sense, because you're not lifting up. You're lifting, being pulled horizontally.
You're really just holding on. It's just about grip strength, really.
Yeah.
So I guess it doesn't really matter how big or strong you are. It's just how, like, good your grip strength is. Right after that, they cut to Daario, and Dario's like, Nate and Christina just won this round. He's like, if they pull this off, this upset, he's like, my decision is going to start looking pretty good. And we'll get to that later on what I think of how this all played out. But then we cut to Christina, and it's the guy's turn to hold on. It's going to be Corey and Nate holding on, and Christina is whispering instructions to Nate. She's like, don't try and flex. Just let your arms go. Zone out. Almost meditate. relax. That's all you got to do. And like she really coached up Nate here, because Nate, he really, like we see later in the next elimination, he gets really flustered and he doesn't perform well under pressure. But she really coached him through it, told him everything he needed to do, and obviously it really paid off. Like I thought it was a great job by Christina.
Yeah, it starts, and Corey, I think he's flexing. He's doing the exact opposite. He's like kind of like,
at first he was holding it really close to him to like give him some slack, and ultimately it just wore out his grip strength, because by the time his arms are outstretched, you can see all of a sudden he's just starting to shake, and like Nate just looked like whatever. He was just chill and meditating, calm and cool.
Yeah,
and Corey lets go, and it like. It was a shocker. Like, I just did not think this was going to happen. Like, Nate and Christina, how in the world how do you lose to these two?
I for some reason, I want to emphasize the weight. But, like, I mean, I really can't. I can't justify the weight difference. They just simply outdid them. And I'm like, props to Nate and Christina.
Yeah, and I'm not shocked that, like, Nate and Christina did good, because I'm not saying they're a bad team. But I really thought Corey and Ashley were an awesome team.
Oh, yeah.
I really feel like they were a favorite this year. One of the top dogs, for sure. So this is definitely a shock. And, like, Corey is just shaking his head, and he's just like, yep, this one's on me.
Well, I hate Ashley. She lost her round, too.
Yeah.
So, and Ashley was really upset. I mean, she had her cry face on.
She was super upset. Yeah. And, like, that's why I love Ashley. Like, she's really into it. Like, she wants to win so freaking bad. And she's like, I'm really disappointed. I thought we were going to do better than this. Like, she wanted to do better this season. Like, this is episode 11. She's a rookie, and she made it this far. Like, Ashley's awesome. To me, she's rookie of the year. Ashley is. Yeah. Easily.
Yeah.
Like, and she's got it all. She's a total package. She was good in missions. She's physically awesome. She really has that drive and desire to win. Plus, she's awesome at talking smack. She's great on camera. She's Smashly. Like, she's got she has every attribute that you like in a challenger.
Yeah, political game, everything. Yeah, it was great. Okay, so they're gone. Huge loss.
Yeah, and then like immediately, all the other teams are on the fence, and Devin and Dario just start talking shit. And Dario says to Christina and Ashley, he's like, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. And Devin's like, all right, coward boy, keep talking shit. That was your friend you just rooted for.
That's like, right. That was messed up.
So Dario was rooting for Corey and Ashley as the mission's going on. And then now he's saying, get the fuck out of here. Like, Dario is always on both sides of the fucking fence constantly. And Cheyenne even says, shut up, Dario. Why would you even say that? And Devin's just calling him a coward, and then cuts to Dario saying to the camera, I made a power move at the right time, and it paid off. But is that really what happened? Did he make a power move at the right time and it paid off? Because what really happened was he thought Corey was betraying him by having Wes on his side before him. Mm-hmm. And Dario was upset and sent him in because his emotional side, Dario, he wasn't making a power move. He got emotional. He let his ego get in the way. His ego was hurt. And so the move wasn't really planned out in great strategy. Yes, it happened to work out, and he sent Corey home, and he's taking his place as a guy who's working with Bananas now. But that doesn't mean it was really a smart move in terms of winning in the end.
No, because Dario is fixated on that third place win. He's like, I want a guaranteed cash payout at the end of this thing. He's not thinking second or first.
Yeah.
I feel like he knows it's not possible, but with Corey and Ashley, had he stuck with them, sure Corey made plans, that's what you do. But like, he never, I don't think so. I mean, well, we don't know because Corey did send in Thomas, who was his friend as well. So, I don't know. I mean, do I hate Dario for it? Yes, but like, he made his decision. He does come off as an asshole, but he is looking for that third spot. So I don't know.
One of the interesting things with Corey going home is Bananas has already said on screen that he was gonna like just totally throw Corey to the wolves. The next shot he got. Yeah. And with the next mission later in this episode, Bananas wins, but he can't send Corey in because Corey's gone. So I just thought it was interesting that we never got to see that play out, because I think it really would have showed Bananas in a very poor light, just throwing in another, like, him making an alliance with someone, but it all just being phony and him just selling someone out.
Well, they already did that with Devin, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay, so then, now what? Now we're back home, or?
Yeah, basically, like, Devin is saying, Dario, you just sent home your best friend so you can take his place. He's like, it's disgusting. Then, like, TJ says, this is one of the biggest upsets in a long time. Because Nate and Christina beat Corey and Ashley. And basically, like, yeah, I guess it's a pretty big upset. But, I mean, Nate and Christina are still here. You don't have to call them trash right to their face. Like, because that's basically what TJ was saying. Like, this is such a big upset. It's like, come on, they just won. Give them some credit.
Yeah.
So back at the house, like, Devin is talking to Wes. He's like, Dario is the most cowardice person I have ever met. He's like, you don't tell someone you're going to do something and not do it. And Devin's like, I'm going to go light him up. I'm going to go confront him. And they never actually go to that, or they never show any of that. They just show him saying that, and Wes is like, well, if you're going to, just be sure not to raise your voice. He's like, because if he comes at me, I'm not going to say anything. He's like, I don't fight and I don't talk to kids. He's like, in my real life, he wouldn't even get a meeting with me.
That's right. And Sarah's there, and she's
she's watching the whole thing, and she wants to chime in.
Yeah. What does she say? Oh, I feel like you talk down to people, or something like that. And Wes is like, you're doing that to me right now. You know, like.
Yeah, she said to Wes, she's like, you're not strong anymore. You don't have that political game anymore. So you just try to put people down to validate yourself and try and make other people look small. And Wes just calmly replies, you're doing the same thing to me. What do you think this is right now?
Yeah, I don't... You know, we're putting too much emphasis on all Bananas' cutthroatiness. But Sarah is there every step of the way. She's part of that same team. Like, for some reason, we want to ignore it, or, like, people aren't bringing it up. But Sarah's making these same deals, smirking behind their backs, still putting them in. She betrayed Devin and Cheyenne as well. Mm-hmm. All right? I can't, like... Sarah can't get away with the same shit, and just because she's a woman. No, it's a different age. You know, we're all equal. Shit, I'm sure it's empowering, but
yeah, and like Wes tells her, he's like, the only reason you're in the position you are is because of Bananas. If he wanted everyone on this show to hate you, they would hate you. But he's like, he's working with you, and he's getting everyone to be on your side, and that's why she's in the position she's in.
Yeah,
and he basically is like, if he wanted to make everyone hate you, he's like, the only person you have in the house would be me.
Yeah,
he's
they're
like,
friends apparently.
Yeah. And he's like, Wes just calls Sarah. He's like, I'm just calling you a fair weather friend.
Yeah. And remember, like, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. They've been hanging out. You know, I think they're in the same bedroom together and stuff. And even when they showed up at the beginning of episode 1, they showed up together. Sarah and Wes. They were, you know, so they're friends, but yet Sarah's perfectly fine with how Bananas is treating Wes every fucking episode and throwing him in every single time.
Yeah, I don't understand, why is she getting after Wes and calling Wes childish, trying to put other people down, when it's like, your own partner Bananas does this way more than Wes does. And, and Bananas does it to people's faces constantly. Wes, yeah, he's talking some shit about Dario, calling him like inferior, a little kid, but he's not saying it to his face. He's not being confrontational about it. He's being mature, like, I don't even want to talk to that guy, screw him. But it's completely the opposite of the way Bananas acts. Mm-hmm. And, you know, basically, shame on Sarah for trying to get into a verbal discussion with Wes. Like, Wes is way too smart to win an argument with. And then, like, basically after this, we just cut to the club. And they're all out drinking. Nani is sitting outside smoking some cigarettes, and she's crying, upset. Yeah. And because Nicole, she's sitting on the couch on the inside, she's getting the VIP treatment. You know, Dario won. You know, they're sitting high and pretty. They're with Bananas and Vince. They're all having a good time, and Nani she wishes she could be in that good spot, but she's not. She's on the outside looking in, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, because like she's not with she's not, and like, I don't, whatever. Like, for some reason, if you're in good graces with Bananas, you're sitting pretty, which, I mean, you are, But Wes is there, once again, listening to her. I like the fact that they have a good communication with each other. But Nani is hurt that her own flesh and blood, her own bloodline, for crying out loud, doesn't have her back in terms of politics at all,
Yeah.
And then also Devin is kind of poking at the stupid ape known as Vince.
Oh yeah. But before we get to Devin and Vince, I just want to say, like, Nani, she's all butthurt that she's in the position she's in, and yeah, it sucks. Like, Nicole, she chose basically just, hey, we're gonna go with Bananas and take this spot with him. I'm gonna sell you guys out and this alliance out. But Nani, the reason you're in this position is she said like 4 episodes ago, Wes, we're not doing this political game stuff. I don't want to do politics. We just need to go out there and win. If she would have let Wes play his game sooner, I think things could have played out a lot differently. Because she prevented Wes from getting into the political game until like the last 2 episodes, they would have had more time to really hash out an alliance. You could have weeded out the people like Dario who were not going to be committed. Instead, they tried to just makeshift an alliance immediately, and it didn't work out. If Nani would have let Wes do his thing earlier in the game, things could have played out differently. But she waited too long, and it's just like we learned in the trivia thing, Nani is running that team. Wes is just being a good partner, doing what she says, because we all know how like Nani is such an emotional hothead.
Oh, yeah.
Wes has to cater to her and kind of do what she wants. And they're playing Nani's game, and that's why they're on the outside looking in.
Shit, good fucking point, man.
Yeah. So yeah, then we get to Devin and Vinny on the inside, and they're just a couple of idiots fucking yelling at each other. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it.
Devin, he has a brain. He can get in there. He can poke and prod at you. And Vince, like, he can't. He is such a lame ass. Like, I mean, let's not forget that he failed so much last season. And Bananas could say, like, oh, I told him to throw it all he wants. No, that is fucking bullshit. So now Devin is able to run circles around Vince, just saying whatever, because Vince has no response. All he could do is threaten him with his physicality. But what they end up doing is saying, like, oh, you're ugly, you're dumb, you know what I mean? But, like, I don't know. Whatever.
These two need to be careful, because if they don't be careful, they're going to end up being partners on Rivals 4, right?
Oh, gosh.
3 years from now, because these guys are both young competitors on the show. They could easily be partnered together.
Yeah.
Which, that team would just be awful.
Yeah, and, Jenna and Cheyenne, they're both rolling their eyes. They don't care for their partners either. Cheyenne's like, no, you guys are being dumb, you're childish. And Jenna's like, stop, you fuckers, and...
Yeah, she's like, yeah, we have Bananas on our side, but we still need to go out there and do good.
Yeah.
Like, I really like Jenna a lot this year, but it seems like the last 5 episodes we haven't even seen her. She's just kind of really taking a backseat, which kind of sucks, because I like Jenna. Yeah,
instead we're giving a little bit more Vince, just because he's Bananas' cousin, you know what I mean? Like, talk about bias.
Yeah, they're just trying to put Vince over, but there's nothing about him that's really likable.
No.
He's not very good. Like, we see in the mission, once again, he kind of sucks.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, what happens after that fight?
Basically, like, after that, we just cut to the mission. And I don't even remember the name of the mission, but...
Oh, it was Catch and Release. Every single mission is now called Catch and Release. I mean, if you really pay attention. But who gets to make... Nate and Christina get to make the order. And they put Nani and Wes first. Now, I understand it because they've technically made an agreement with Bananas and Sarah and Vince and Jenna. So... But it's like, come on. When you're down to the wire in terms of, like, there's only 6 teams left, you can still make those power moves, Like, I don't know, whatever. It's not in our hands, and in worse, it's in the hands of a bunch of rookies who, whatever. So...
to me, there didn't seem to be, like, a whole lot of logic behind it, or, I don't know, I wish they would have explained it, Maybe there was logic behind it, but, like, MTV didn't show us exactly the reasoning. Well, we kind of just had to do the math in our head and be like, okay, I guess they're just going to stick to their allegiance with Bananas, which isn't really much of an allegiance. It's not like Bananas wouldn't throw them in.
Yeah, I mean...
He he doesn't care for them. So why have his back if you know he doesn't have yours?
Yeah. Okay, so Wes and Nani are first, and so the girl has to get on top of this structure over water, and she has to take the punching bag, a heavy bag, right?
Yep.
Take it by the rope and just swing it back and forth. They got about a good 4 feet, 5 feet to run back and forth while trying to make this heavy bag swing, and it has to swing up to the male partner who's on this platform. He has to jump onto the heavy bag, swing across, jump off, and grab as many flags as possible. You land in the water, you swim to the ladder, climb all the way back up, and you only have 10 minutes to do it.
Yep.
Which I think is insane. 10 minutes, what is that necessarily? I feel like you need at least, 5 minutes to really get to know what you're doing. You know what I mean? So it was crazy.
Yeah.
And we'll see that on how many flags people actually get. You know what I mean? Obviously, they have 20 flags up there.
I think it could have been a little more interesting if they would have done it like Road to Nowhere, where there was 3 different flags at different distances with different point values.
Right.
Instead, there's just the line of flags. They're all worth 1 point. I don't know. I think it would have been better if they were put out at different distances, so that way if you're able to swing farther, you get rewarded for it.
Some people are barely even able to make it.
Yeah,
So.
that's the thing, is that it was really tough.
But yeah, right beforehand, Wes and Nani, they're gonna go first. But Wes is like, you know what? Every time I put on a life jacket and I'm in the water, people get intimidated or something like that. I don't remember what he said exactly, but it was great.
Wes is a great swimmer. Unfortunately for this challenge, it doesn't really have much to do with you have to swim to the ladder, but just because if Wes is able to do that 4 seconds faster than someone else, it's not really gonna help you. It's all about that bag and getting enough momentum on it to jump up there.
Yeah. So they start, and Nani's, making the bag move. It's kind of hard for her, but not too hard. Wes is able to jump. I think he misses the first couple times. Mm-hmm. He just kind of lands in the water, and eventually he's able to get 1 flag, 2 flags. He gets 2 flags overall. So it's hey, that sucks. They were first, but what are you going to do? Next is, I have no idea, Dario and Nicole. No, Devin and Cheyenne.
Okay.
And, and again, this kind of sucks because the girls, what are they doing necessarily? It's not as exciting at all, just moving this heavy bag back and forth like that. You know what I mean?
It's not very exciting, but it seems to be crucial though. Because
crucial, yeah.
It's very crucial because some of the girls, they can't seem to get into a rhythm doing it. Mm-hmm. And it's all about momentum. Like Sarah says, because Sarah, every single mission Sarah's in, she has to break down exactly, this is the smart way to do it, so this is why I did this. She was trying to put herself over as being the smart intellectual one who thinks her way to the finish line. It kind of gets sickening.
But you know what? Cheyenne's having a problem because, again, Cheyenne's a smaller girl.
Shorter arms definitely played into this for sure. Mm-hmm. A lot like the one where they had to reach out and the other partner was holding on to them with a rope, and you had to reach out.
Yeah, the very first mission.
Yeah.
And I just don't think it's right. I feel and also, every single girl is going to be in charge of moving the heavy bag, which can be very difficult for them. But I'm you know what? Why couldn't Devin move the bag and Cheyenne jump? Obviously because she's not very good in general, but why not get the younger person on that bag, and the guy or the stronger one of the two can really move that bag up almost to the fact that they could just not even jump and just grab the flag. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it's MTV. I don't know why they decide to make the guys do certain things and the girls just kind of sit there. In the trivia, remember the girls were in the coffins and the guys had to do all the... I don't know. I don't think it's right.
I completely agree. I think they should have alternated, The guy swings across one time, then you run up, you take her place, and then she runs over, and then she has to jump on the heavy bag.
Yeah.
Could have just made a circle out of it.
Yeah. But, Devin can't get any single one, much to Vince's approval. He's like, yeah, you suck, and shit like that. Next is...
I think it was Vince and Jenna, wasn't it?
Was it? Oh my gosh.
That or Dario and Nicole. It doesn't really matter.
Dario and Nicole, I think. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Nicole, I think she does okay with it. Dario, on the other hand, there's a couple times the bag comes up to him and he doesn't even jump on it.
Yeah. And they're all screaming at him. Yeah. What are you doing?
Go! Finally, he does go, and he has several attempts. And it's kind of funny because, like, if you pay attention, he, like, plugs his nose while he dumps in, which I'm like, that's like, you know, kids do that. But, I mean, adults do that. You see people do that quite a bit, you know.
Wussies do that. Oh, I'm afraid of water.
I guess. I don't know. I never really chose to make fun of people for doing that because I feel like some people just, like, it does get up their nose more than others. Like, some people, it's no problem. But some people might get a sinus infection.
Yeah, because some people don't know how to breathe when they're jumping into water. You exhale as you're jumping into water. That way water doesn't go up your nose. It's not very complicated. But some people don't understand exhaling, so they have to plug their nose.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what it seems like to me.
It's an untamed element to them, that water. So
yeah.
Next, I believe, is Vince and Jenna. Jenna, of course, does well. She works out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's got long arms.
Yeah.
But Vince is so freaking heavy. I feel like when he jumps on that bag, it just immediately all the momentum is gone because it just sinks down, and there's no way he can get up. So I think the fact that Vince is so heavy really hurt him because he didn't come close.
No, he didn't get a flag either. Next is, I think it's Bananas and Sarah or Christine and Nate. Doesn't really matter. Bananas and Sarah, they go, and that's when Sarah's like, an object in motion will stay in motion, you know?
Breaking it down like Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Yeah, she wishes.
And she's partially right, because she did a really good job of getting the momentum of the bag and getting it to swing very well. And Bananas just hop on and go for a ride. Like, Bananas didn't really have to jump far off of that bag. A lot of the other teams, they all seemed like they were jumping forever through the air trying to get a flag. Bananas kind of just rode the bag because Sarah did such a good job at it.
And Bananas ends up getting 3, which is starting to look very bad. You know, you're like, holy shit. The only other person that has gotten any flags was Wes and Nani, and they gotten 2. So it's like not looking very good. Now it's Nate and Christina, and they pretty much have the same problem. I mean, Christina's a smaller chick. We already know that. Just as small as Cheyenne. So she's having trouble. And Nate, I don't know if he chose not to go as often. I think that's what the case was.
Yeah, it seems like he was kind of like Dario, where he was just not jumping. It was like, come on, just jump already. Like, you have to at least try.
Yeah. I mean, just like with Dario's case and some others, where the bag it didn't come right as close.
Yeah.
Because Christina, she can't do it, you know? It's so fucking heavy. So Nate ends up not getting any flags either. So now Bananas and Sarah end up winning. Good job for Wes and Nani. They got 2 flags when they went first. You know, that's kind of says a lot about them as a team, you know? I mean, had they not gotten last.
Yeah, had they been able to watch other people swing the bag and kind of get a little bit of a handle on it, I think they probably could have gotten 3.
Yeah, but you know what? They're up against They're up against Bananas and Sarah and a bunch of scrubs who just want 3rd place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why they put Wes and Nani first, you know? It just sucks. All right, so now, since 3 teams got 0, Devin, Cheyenne, Nate and Christina, and Dario and Nicole, TJ says, you know, actually, Nate and Christina, they had less tries. They only had, like, 2 tries overall. So now they're in the jungle for sure, right?
See, I thought that was weird, because I was thinking in my head, I'm like, well, if 3 teams tied for last, you're going to send those 3 teams in, and they're going to draw, and there won't even be a nomination and it probably would have worked out that way if West had won, but Bananas had won, so they're going to make sure that Bananas gets to choose who goes in.
Yeah.
I don't know. Man, I just thought it was weird, because if all 3 of those teams tied, how can you really... Then afterwards they're kind of just like, well, they did less attempts, so we're going to go off of that.
Yeah, so, they're going in the jungle. What happens after that? I don't know.
Basically, they just cut the nominations.
Exactly, and this was awesome.
Yeah.
So Nate and Christina, they're called up there because they got last or whatever, and TJ just wants to, like, you guys just did so terrible. And I'm like, remember, they won a mission before. Give them some fucking slack. But whatever, it's not about TJ. It never was. Now, Bananas and Sarah, they're about to say who's going to go in, and it's Sarah who's talking. Sarah's like, yeah, so we were hoping that this mission, we would have been able to, you know, create a bridge between 2 teams.
Not just this mission, this challenge, this entire season.
Huh.
She said on this, she's like, this is the one challenge where we thought we could mend and build a relationship with this team.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Like, what is she talking about? Like, Bananas and Sarah sent in Wes in, like, the 3rd, like, once they got first place in, like, episode 4.
Yeah.
They immediately sent in Wes. They did not make any attempt to work with Wes and Nany at all.
No. So, as bullshit as it was perfect because Wes is like, he just gets up mid-sentence and he knows he's nominated. Nany kind of rolls her eyes and then Sarah's like, oh, Wes is nominated, And then Banana's turn to talk. He's like, well, these two teams, we want to play the odds or whatever. And Devin
I still don't know what that means, playing the odds.
Devin gets up and, he pulls the Wes, like little Wes Jr. Devin, And I'm like, is it funny the second time, in a row for, Wes just pulled it, but it was, And of course Cheyenne, she's kind of annoyed too. And Banana's like, wow, you really know when you got the house on lockdown when people are nominating themselves. Like, no, they just beat you to the punch, you fucking idiot.
Yeah,
the king of spin. This fucker Bananas, he always has to make sure everything makes him in the perfect light and he just fucking talks down to everyone else. Exactly what Sarah was accusing Wes of. Like, this is such bullshit, and Sarah's completely blind to it.
Yeah, Wes and Devin, they were sick and tired of Bananas talking and just talking down and talking shit about their teams and then sending them in. So they're just like, whatever, I'm going to steal this moment from you. I'm just going to stand up and go in and, stop you from rambling about blah, 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 screw these juvenile teams and some other stupid put-downs you're going to say about them.
Yeah, I mean, when Bananas first threw in Wes, he called him an idiot, didn't he? He was just like, this idiot or whatever, and I'm like, fuck you. So, anyways, they're up. He
called him a spineless piece of shit or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, Wes didn't even respond to it, because he's mature.
Yeah, so they're up there, and, Nany and Cheyenne are kind of annoyed, like, no, you nominated us. No. I can't believe they don't even get it. But I love the fact that we skipped the power team couple dinner. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And
we've seen so many of Bananas and Sarah, and it's always been the same conversation.
Yeah, I'm so glad we're working together now, and we hated each other, didn't we? And I'm
thank
sure
God the producers cut that out. They probably didn't want to, but it was a good thing they did.
No, fucking, I'm sure they wanted to fuck. This was the thing. As soon as I watched this, first of all, it's not going to end in a cliffhanger this episode, which is great. But it also fits in another jungle in it, and you're just like, you know what? You could have edited every single episode this way. Trim out all that bullshit.
Yeah, they could have with the last power couple dinner.
Yeah.
Because we already heard that conversation.
Yeah. So, right to the jungle. Right to the meat. Right?
Yeah, Shattered Dreams.
Shattered Dreams.
Which is the name of Goldust's finisher.
Is it?
Well, his old finisher. It was where he'd put the guy in the corner and kind of spread his legs out on the ring ropes, and then he'd run up and kick him in the nuts.
Oh, shit.
Shattered Dreams.
So now they gotta pull skulls.
Wes goes up first. He picks out a white one. Then Devin goes up there, and Devin's had a horseshoe up his ass this entire game. Yeah. He pulls out a white one again. He doesn't go in. And then Nany goes up and she pulls the black one. So it's Wes and Nany versus Nate and Christina. This is scary for Wes and Nany because Nate and Christina just came off a win against Corey and Ashley, a really strong team. Anything can happen.
That's true. Yeah, I was kind of nervous about this.
And Wes and Nany, they almost lost to Jamie and Kellyanne in the blind soccer. That was a close game.
Yeah,
could have went either way.
Yeah. And this one, this jungle is interesting. I kind of enjoyed it. The only thing I had against it was that, again, the girls don't really do anything.
Yeah, they just had to crank it up and aim, or get it at the right level, and then the guys were the one who were aiming it and pulling it back and swinging it forward. Yeah. So it was all really just the guys doing it.
It's a tall wall of windows. There's about 9 little windows. About 8 little windows, and then the final window is a bigger window at the very top.
Yep.
And you have this big log that's kind of carved at the end like a pencil, and you just gotta and ropes attached, and you have to smash them in every single time. And so yeah, the girls, they don't have to do shit really. They just have to turn crank, which is I really want the girls to be able to do more shit. It just kind of sucks about MTV sometimes. But Nate, he starts to get very, what would you call it?
Well, flustered,
yeah,
overwhelmed.
Flustered. Yeah, flustered.
He just could not do it right. And he was, the giant, log that's carved out that they're swinging back and forth. It has a rope in the front and a rope in the back. And, you can see Wes, he's keeping the front rope, just keeping it tight, no slack in it. And then he'll move the back rope to aim. And Nate's doing the opposite. He's not really. He's leaving slack in it,
almost.
And he's pulling both of them, but he's trying to aim with the front rope. He's swinging it left to right, which is making it just swing back and forth. And it's like, dude, just hold that front one still and move the back one to aim.
Yeah,
and he just never seemed to figure it out the entire time. And Wes and Nani, they're just slowly just pegging away. Boom, first one, second one, just all the way up. They just annihilate it.
Yeah, Nate can't seem to find the hole. And speaking of Nicole, is like watching from the audience, and she's not cheering for either one. Her boyfriend of a couple weeks, who, by the way, we kind of skipped this. She mentioned the L word.
Yeah,
lesbian. No, she mentioned the L word, and I'm like, really? Well, that's pleasant, I guess. I'm pleasantly surprised. Do I believe it's real? I don't know, but like,
no,
she seems to think it is.
They're just infatuated with each other because they're in this exotic place and everything's new and fun and exciting.
But she's not cheering her own flesh and blood, her own cousin Nani. You know, like, and the fact that she's not cheering for either one, she just comes off as a cold-hearted bitch. I know she's not. Doesn't she, or no?
I feel like that's the right play.
Really?
Like, you can't choose one or the other. You have to just remain silent.
I would have said
she's being Sweden right now. She's not choosing sides.
But
because there is no right and there is no wrong. Like, and plus, like, she's already screwed over Nani once. She can't, like, start cheering for her now. Like, it's not going to make any sense.
Yeah, do you think Nani would have just turned that on her? And
yeah,
like,
she already sold her downriver last episode, so now she's just being polite by not openly rooting for Nate, even though we know she is. But that's okay, because, of course, you're always going to choose the person you're in a relationship with over the person you're a cousin with. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been fine if some girl, you know, was rooting for a cousin over me. I'd be like, I understand family values, but whatever. I mean, you know. So when Wes and Nani are going, Wes is just fucking getting it done. Bananas actually has something positive to say. He's like, you know, every once in a while, this guy will impress you. I'm like, what? Holy shit! Turn that into a fucking meme or whatever, you know, or a GIF. What do they call it? GIF. Yeah.
GIF.
GIF.
Yeah, it's like peanut butter.
Yeah, cheesy moms choose GIF. They say GIF because they don't know what it is. But yeah, Wes and Nani, they end up winning. That's cool. Obviously, I like that team.
And Wes says right afterwards, he's like, hey, I got a feeling we're going to have 2 more of these before this is all over. Because Wes knows that I can't believe they've made it this far because they've really not done well in most of the missions. Mm-hmm. But they've been able to escape elimination. They've won a couple times. Another time, Tony and Camilla got sent home, so then they didn't have to draw or go in.
Yeah.
So they've managed to not get eliminated and stick around, even though the fact that they're not doing that well in the missions. And Bananas and Sarah have tried their asses off to get rid of them, but they've been unsuccessful to this point.
Yeah, and so now TJ's like, okay, well, anything could happen, but I have some news here. Who wants to go to Argentina with me? And I was like, woo! Especially Sarah. Holy shit! Like, she is so bad at this, like, excited for the camera, like, oh my god, she's like the Taylor Swift of the fucking challenge, where like Taylor Swift, I don't know if you ever seen her perform, but like she would always do this thing afterwards where after she would finish the song, people would cheer and she'd act like she was so surprised, like, oh my god, oh, you guys love me, oh, she would do that, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, you fake ass shit? But
yeah,
whatever.
She definitely oversells
my god,
everything is a huge major deal, and she comes across as just like, Sarah's like this weird mom of the show.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Where she's way into it, and it's like, I could just see her going to like PTA meetings and like, oh, we're going to do an art project for the kids, and this is so exciting. Like, you can totally see that part of it, and it's just so eye-rolling and annoying.
But hey, man, I don't want to rip on her too much for being a light in these dark days, I guess. But so, anyways, TJ says, hey, we're going to go to Argentina, and people are excited, and he's like, after the next mission. So whoever passes
one of the teams is not going to come along.
And then 4 teams are going to go to Argentina, only to have another mission elimination. And it's just kind of like, all right. I don't know why he told them now. I mean, like, what's the point of like telling them a mission earlier?
I think it was just so they had some kind of cliffhanger at the end of the episodes to kind of hook you in.
And they're going to go to Argentina, which, again, they went to Argentina before, and Rivals won. That was where the final happened before. And just like how in Battle of the Bloodlines, how they reused the turkey house from Battle of the Seasons, you know? Like, MTV, you clearly are running out of cash. You know what I mean? It's nuts.
Yeah, so, like, even look at, like, the helicopter teams they contracted. Like, the one that... in Argentina, that's where the one helicopter crashed and 2 people died from the production crew. Like,
Jesus.
Or at least the pilot and 1 member of the production crew. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, all these exotic trips, and it's scary for these people. They should be like, I don't know. MTV's budget. We don't know if we want to hop on these choppers.
Full of choppers.
Run from the chopper. Get out of here.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the end of the episode, right?
Yeah.
Exciting.
I'm excited from here on out because I don't feel like they can do any more half episodes, which I'm probably wrong in some way, but I feel like, okay, we're down to this many teams. The next episode is just going to be a mission and an elimination, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like you can't really have much drama because I think any team that wins, we know who they're going to throw in, basically.
Yeah. I don't know. Is there anything else to add to this? Good episode. It just kind of blew by, and I'm okay with it.
Whatever. Yeah, I like the fact that there was 2 eliminations, but that's probably just because they should have stuck it in the last episode and actually completed that.
Actually, I do agree about that. I've never been a fan of having a team eliminated at the beginning of the episode because I feel like it
makes it a side note and you forget about it.
Yeah, because it's like life goes on immediately. It's so much better and it pays so much more respect, I want to say, to a team when they're eliminated at the end of the episode because then you have a whole week to mourn them and shit like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? But when they're eliminated at the beginning of the episode, I've never cared for it because it's like, well, let's pick up and go.
That's what happened with Leroy this year. Like, he got hurt, they sent him home at the beginning of the episode, and then we just completely forgot about it. And then they had an elimination at the end, and then we're talking about that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. Well, that was the episode. Battle of the Challengers Pod. Oh, hold on. Before I sign off, like, subscribe, comment, share.
Nobody's going to do any of that anyways, Vince. Just leave that out.
Especially since we're a week late. You know, tomorrow is the next episode. This is such...
By the time this is uploaded, the episode's probably going to be out in a few hours.
Like, how do our listeners feel when they're just, like, listening to, like, a week-old episode? They're like, we don't care, we're on to the next.
There's only, like, 20 of them.
Yeah.
So.
Only 20 listeners, yeah. All right, so anyways, this is Battle of the Challengers podcast with Vincent Cloud
and David Lauer.